The waiting is the worst of it. The slow trickle of mindless minutes dumbly suffered, with closed eyes and clenched mouth, dwarfed by the shadows of strongly rooted trees, twisted by teaching winds, learning to bend unbroken, feeling exquisitely, completely, all that must be relinquished. The scrape of stones on knees worn raw with prayer, the buzz of insects in their day-long dance, small as men to the Almighty, the fragrance of the grass, appreciated only in the absolute stillness of a heart despairing over its goodbyes. The voices of friends, drugged with wine and sleep, slipping away from the ear as the burned boat slips from the desolate, unfamiliar shore. The distant chime of metal and the scent of flames, the bob of lamps snaking across the night. They herald darkness. Why are they bringing light? I stood tall with the bread, now crumple in upon myself, for my betrayers loose out in the world. The night is black as sin, and they are coming. Stay, run, I must choose. And so I kneel, and so I pray, as when I knelt on fragrant grass by breathing sea and raised my all to you. But that was then, eternities ago, when I was free. I mourn for my lost Galilee in this dark garden, with this poisoned cup swimming before my eyes. Father, your will, not mine, be done. I am abandoned. See, they slumber and I cannot wake them up. And there are soldiers swarming up the hill. I was one of those who hit him. He did not know it. He did not resist. Bound blindfold, he could not strike back. I wish that I could say that it was satisfying. But even then I knew I was a coward, striking so that I wouldn't have to think. If he had been Messiah, he would have known I had struck him. I watched his eyes afterward, but they betrayed only the knowledge of pain. He gave his silence to us like a gift, inviting us to interpret him, stilled to accept the imprint of our judgment on flesh that sinned only by being ordinary. I had desired arrogance. I was disappointed. Given no foothold in him, my anger recoiled on me like a beast, scolding me to excesses of zeal for justification, to rage at this sheep who made me feel my wolfishness. He was the mirror in which we saw ourselves. We had made him powerful, and now must unmake what we had spoken into being around him, writhing in the looped snare of his silence. We had to destroy him, to erase the image of ourselves, to mask with blood the face of a hope that would not speak its name. We gave the condemnation he had expected. I was one of those who condemned him. You, man who had to die, why do you haunt me, turning ever in dreams that death-marked face to answer the question of my fear and petulance? What is truth? Unravelling me with dark Galilean eyes, hounding me down the brain's blank corridors. Rome did not prepare me for this. You weren't part of the routine. Marched in bedraggled in the barely light. King? The harsh gaze of the morning wasn't kind. I never saw a man who looked less like a king. Or more like one. Yes, it was new, that something indefinable in the quiet pools of your eyes. You, flesh for their feasting wrath, why do you haunt me, taunting the mind with better possibilities, leaving the unanswered questions boring like weevils, stealing me from myself, so I am searching for bloodstains on robes of state fresh laundered? I was not responsible. Your own people brought you, marked for murder as the price of peace. I shouldn't have felt anything, troublesome Jew, dumb as a Passover lamb, the irony, harried into my presence, raw with blows, in a cage of stabbing fingers and hate, tongued through the acceptable jealousies of law. Your bearded, rent-robed elders, flurrying like startled birds, risking defilement in my Roman corridors. You, animal dumb, seeking death, why do you haunt me? You were so long ago. I have been judge far too often. Another peasant revolutionary should be a pebble in my sack of wrongs. Why am I crushed, as though by boulders, unseen so more real, and flushed, fevered, even in the cool of marble? I had to do something. Your people demanded it. While I was searching your maddening silences for our escape, you bound me, complicitous, asking for nothing amid the clamour of their accusations. King, teacher, rebel, blasphemer, son of their God? Not my words, I said none of it. Neither did you, it appears. At least, never to me. You great king of elsewhere, empire of silences, why do you haunt me? Still, while they robed you in mock majesty, curseless in cruelty's crown, your flesh trembling in ribbons beneath their violent homage. How can a man be so crushed, undefeated, and clear? It was only natural, they're soldiers, and you enraged them. I permitted, not seeing, but only I thought of the sympathy if the Jews saw you the loser beneath the oppressor. The feast was our safety net. You were free falling, and so I misjudged them. You did your part, trembled with pain's fragile message of needing, trophied on my marble threshold, against its white so darkly Jewish, so one of their own. But it seems you were easy to hate. One must kill to be lauded. One must kill to be lauded. You thorn in my side, paradox, why do you haunt me, dark-eyed and tragic in my doorway, propped and oozing, maddening in helplessness's strangely uncaptive stare, while the mob screamed your death ever closer? Why not a word, not a friend's voice to call for you? I was drowning. Would washing hands cleanse me? Ask if I really believed it. You seemed to imply guilt for others. You speared me with pity, left no doubt which of us was the conqueror. So I released you into the hands of their whitewashed hate, closed my eyes, nailed thought shut. But the dark cross still intruded, despite all. They came. I was stronger, clean-handed. What I've written stays written. Jesus of Nazareth, King of the Jews. What I've written stays written. For all time, it stays written. Help me, God. In my mind, on my soul, it stays written. You didn't make it up the hill. Messiah, King, Son of God. You didn't make it up the hill, beneath your heavy load of wood. You didn't make it up the hill, to finish what you came to do. Messiah, King, Son of God. You didn't make it up the hill. It was too much, the wounds, the bleeding, the heavy weight of wood. You didn't make it up the hill. They had to drag another in, to shove his shoulder against your shoulder, to lift the load too heavy for you to carry. You didn't make it up the hill. crushed, eating dust. Messiah, King, Son of God, crushed, eating dust, buried beneath the weight of wood. You didn't make it up the hill. And so, each time I fall, I look to the left, to the right of me, and your hands clench beside mine in the dust. Your head bows beside mine in the dust. Your muscles tremble with mine against the dust. The heavy weight of wood pressing into our backs. I cannot make it up the hill. The trick not to be sick, they said, is take some spices you can smear under your nose. The smells are awful. And for the God's sake, sort out your face. Sure, everybody knows this punishment does not fit any crime a person could commit, but nonetheless, your face must be a shield, soldier of Rome. Let them see firmness. Bury that distress. My mother ground me spices, and it seemed no one had told her to sort out her face. Behind her eyes swam horrors. Something screamed deep in her mother soul as we embraced. His mother screamed aloud as he was maimed. Which of us made his mother most ashamed? I always thought it was the fishy smell I'd never scrub off. I exchanged my net for creaking leathers and a sword and hell. A hell whose sight and stench I can't forget. The knots I tied roped wrists to wood for nailing, and he writhed helpless in the net of death, wrenched up like some unholy catch, and flailing, slimy with blood and sweat, gulping a breath. Better a fisherman. Abba was right. I slammed the nails in quick, my only mercy. His words dug deeper in me than their bite. No curses. No, he prayed God would forgive me, while flopped there, gasping like a fish on land. I'm going home. Abba will understand. A sword will pierce your own soul too, he said, taking my squirming baby into his wrinkled hands. A sword will pierce your own soul too, suggesting that my tiny one would one day be pierced. That was all I could focus on. The hornet's nest he was sure to stir up, revealing the thoughts of many. God knows there are too many secrets in dark places. God knows there are too many dangers to be found in speaking truth. And yet he was the truth, blood to bone. A sword will pierce your own soul too. And it did. With every lash and stumble and hammer blow, with every cry, with every thud, with every gasping breath. A harder labour than that which saw him into this world. His labour on the cross to birth, I know not what, I do not understand. The end of the story is not given to me. Only this moment, this piercing. He's thirsty, and that hurts, not to be able to quench his thirst as I have done so many times. Not to be able to hold him in his pain, my reach not long enough. Father God between us, we cradled him. 33 years we cradled him between us. Hold him now. Rough wood, hot dust, the bite of wind-whirled grit sticking to faces wet with sweat and tears. At least his eyes are closed, and at least it provides excuses for the brine my fears have striped my cheeks with. How they striped his flesh with curling lashes, dragging deep to slice pain deep into the bones of him, the fresh blood darkening the harsh wood where he writhes. It hurts to think it, as though echoes of his pain are layered down into my skin, with layers of his love, determined love, and his swift mercy layered in between. Behold your son, behold your mother. Thus our wounded Lord makes one more healing, us.
Flesh of my flesh, bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh, bone
Surely this man was the Son of God. I have seen many deaths. Deaths in battle or at peace, yet never with such courage or such pain, never with such compassion. People fold in on themselves when death is close. Yet he looked to left and right, forgave the dying thief beside him, though they had not met, turned to his mother and his friend, gave them into one another's keeping. When the nails go in, screaming and cursing usually fill the air. Yet he pleaded with another, unseen to the rest of us. Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing. I must confess, I watched his agonies simply for that phrase alone, wanting to understand. I would be lying if I said I enjoyed such grisly work. But there is something to be said for the ways in which death picks apart a man. This man, unravelled, seemed so much more than man. In conversation with I know not who, his whole being tipped upward in his dying moments, outward in his dying moments, downward in his dying moments, but never within. This man, breathing his last as though it were a victory. Truly this man, the Son of God. I broke my secrecy. I could not help it. I wish I had done it sooner. I wish I had stood beside him while it still mattered. I wish I had done the right thing, been less cautious, less wary, less of a cynic, less of a coward, and more of, oh, so many things, too many things. The gift of a tomb, too little, too late, perhaps. And yet in death I can honour him, who changed life for me forever. It seems the very least, and the very latest, and the very last gift. Why do I give it? Not in courage, but in desperation. And perhaps a tiny bit of hope. Hope for what I do not know. But his whole being gave me hope. And stubbornly I cling to the last of him. unable to tend him, unable to give the last gift of tenderness, of fragrance, of beauty. Stilled by the Sabbath, walled away by tradition, my grief strangled in my throat. The barest, most hasty of preparations made. And this whole day's pause, in silence, in stillness, in uselessness, the ends of my grief raw and dangling, waiting, waiting. The silence is the worst. No stories now, or laughter. All the gaps you used to fill now crowd me with their emptiness. My friend, I miss your knack of being glad but still. I miss your bright, contagious peace. Your smiles were so specific, and your hands so strong, hauling our nets and lightening the miles we tramped, bearing our burdens even then. I must confess, I eavesdropped on your prayers and envied you, and learned your words, and tried them out on my own tongue like stolen wine, and felt such warmth of answer that I cried. I miss your teaching, listening like a child through the fire's flickering rhythms as you told us things in pictures on the edge of sense, your voice like blankets keeping out the cold. The miracles amazed me, to be part of that, part of the joy, the touching heaven of promises made flesh. It was, I swear, the greatest privilege my life has given. I can't believe your light has darkened now. You were so full of life, life lived in you in all its fullness, as you taught it could. You made us see by being that it was true. What now? Only the silence and the tomb, the stone like a full stop, the story's end. You are worth more words than this world has given. King of the Jews, rather my king, my friend. Yet here we are, there stone a wall between us, and I now half again the man I was, and half this new thing, feathers barely dry. If you call ever, will I fall or fly?
In this heart lies for you a life.